Let's study the nervous system in animals. When we talk about the nervous system in animals, and we have studied already in 9th class, it is made up of your nerves, and these nerves are in turn made up of neurons. Okay, so neurons are actually the functional and structural unit of nervous system. Why do we call neurons as a structural unit? Because these neurons only make up your nerve fibers, and nerve fibers in turn make up your nervous system, and it's known as the functional unit because the nervous system is functioning because of the different nerve fibers, and fibers are functioning because of the neurons. So that's the structural and functional unit of your nervous system. So let's study the structure of a neuron. The neuron is an elongated structure as you see on the board. The first part of the neuron is the cell body. The middle part of the neuron is axon, while the last part of the neuron is your nerve ending. The first part, the cell body, has a centrally placed nucleus and has got extensions. These extensions are known as dendrites. Dendrites are the extensions of the first part of the neuron, that's the cell body. Coming to the next part, that's the middle part, it is known as the axon. Axon has these small cells placed on the central part, and these are actually made up of your fat. The complete sheet is known as the myelin sheet, and the cells are known as squamous cells. So you know that the fat is actually, and it provides the insulation. So fat acts as an insulating layer. So what will be the advantage of this fat layer? We will study once we talk about how the nerve impulse travels on the axon. Coming to the last part of the neuron, that's the nerve ending. Nerve ending is the part which passes on the messages to other parts of the body, and the functional junction between two neurons is known as synapse. So there can be a synapse or there can be a gap. The synapse will be the thing when there is a junction between two neurons. The neuron will end on another neuron, but a gap will be there when it will be ending on a muscle or when it will be ending on a gland. Okay, so that's the structure of a neuron. So what actually happens when we talk about the messages are being passed through your nerve fibers? Messages are actually received at the dendrites. Dendrites are the extension of your cell body. So what I have written here, the information is acquired at the dendritic tip of your neuron. Once an information is acquired at the dendrite, it sets off a chemical reaction. Because of the setting of a chemical reaction, an electrical impulse is being generated. This electrical impulse now travels through your axon all through its length and reaches to your nerve ending. At nerve ending, it releases the chemicals, and these chemicals are then passed down to another organ for the action to be taken. Now, there are three possible endings of a nerve ending. A nerve ending can end on another neuron. A nerve ending can end on a muscle. A nerve ending can end on a gland. So these are the possible three endings of a nerve ending. When this nerve ending ends on another neuron, there will be connection of this nerve ending with the dendrite of another neuron. So what will happen? A message is released here. The message travels through your axon. It reaches to the nerve ending and it touches the dendrite of another neuron. So message is being transferred. For example, if a message is going to be transferred from the brain to the leg, and whole through we have got the network of neurons. So from one neuron to another neuron, the pathway will be dendrite, axon, nerve ending, dendrite, axon, nerve ending. So this will be the pathway of traveling a message through neurons to neuron. The same way, this nerve ending can end on a muscle. Such an ending is known as neuromuscular junction. It is known as neuromuscular junction. At the same time, it can also end on a gland. When I say gland, gland are like in the first part we studied the endocrine glands. So when it enters the endocrine gland, it sends a message, now is the time to work, go and work and release the hormones. So these are the various endings of a nerve, or I say actually the neuron. So what was the actual pathway? First, message was received at the dendrite, it set off a chemical reaction, and this chemical reaction generated an electrical impulse. This electrical impulse traveled through the axon, it reached the nerve ending, it released the chemicals, it crossed the gap or the synapse, and finally it sets up an impulse in another neuron.